Hello and welcome to the Private Label Masters YouTube channel. In the last video I posted, I'll put a screenshot here. I touched on how I just hit $10 million in sales on Amazon in the past 12 months. Now, that's been a huge milestone for myself. And I'm no longer a six-figure seller, a seven-figure seller, but now an eight-figure seller with no partners, all private label products. But I'll be upfront with you guys. There would have been no way possible for me to hit those numbers all on my own. Me doing everything, all the ins and outs in my business. The only way that it's been possible for me to hit those numbers is because I have built an amazing team, all right, that supports me. And in this video, I'm gonna touch on the different roles and capacities that different team members play when I decided to hire them on, and also how I went about finding them. And then a couple other different tips that might help you in regards to building a team yourself. Now, if that sounds interesting to you, stay tuned to this video. Now, if you're brand new and just starting out on Amazon, you may be thinking, you know what, a team, I'm just trying to get one or two products going. And that's great. You know, that's exactly where I started out, and that's where every new Amazon seller starts out. But thinking towards the future, and I really want you to really think towards the future when it comes to a video like this. The only way that you're gonna grow, or if you have plans to grow your business beyond, 1 to 5 products, you plan to grow it into something that will replace your 9 to 5, and something that I like to call can cause some real damage, you're gonna eventually need to build a team. Now, when it comes to building a team, it's important to think about a few different things. You don't wanna be the bottleneck of your business. Now, you may do amazing things and great work, but at a certain point in time, there are aspects of your Amazon business that need to be delegated out so you can focus on more important things, which will help you grow faster. Now, a lot of people out there, and I'll be frank, they're control freaks. They don't like to give up control over anything, even if it's the smallest little thing, because they're afraid that nobody else can do it as well as them. And maybe they're right. But in order to scale, you must be able to let go of control. You gotta have the mindset of, it may not be done as good as I've done it, but is it good enough? Right? And if it's good enough, then you need to roll with that. Now, if you're really good at hiring and finding qualified employees or assistants, you eventually are gonna find people that can do each one of their different responsibilities better than you could on your own ever could have, all right? And that's what I've really strived to do in my business. So when it comes to hiring a virtual assistant or an employee, there's a few things that I really look forward to. I look for people who are first off, responsible. Now, when I talk about responsible, I don't just say, I'm just not talking about, they show up on time, that kind of responsible. I'm talking on an even grander scale. One of the difficulties with hiring is trying to find people who will treat your business the same way you will treat it. And it's difficult to find because your business is your baby, right? And typically nobody else will treat it with that much care or quality or have a hawk eye on things. But there are people out there who will treat it as such. And one of the ways that I have found to really find a good virtual assistant or employee who treats my business the same way as I would treat it is I make sure to pay them well, and as my business grows, so does their pay. And so every single one of my virtual assistants and employees that I have, we've had the conversation that, you know what? I'm always going to take care of you. If my business grows and you continue to help me grow this thing, I will continue to help you, right? And your pay will always increase as my business increases too. So look for employees or virtual assistants who can have that owner type mentality, all right? Now, the second thing I really look for in virtual assistants or employees is very good communication skills. Now, if you've been sourcing on Alibaba or trying to find a supplier, there's a huge difference, isn't there, when it comes to someone who answers your questions right away and somebody who takes a while, right? The ones who answer right away, you get all your information so quick, it's efficient, and the entire process goes smoother, and you're making money a lot faster than waiting on that one guy who's taking forever, okay? That is the same type of response time I want out of my virtual assistants and my employees. So if you can find those two things, somebody who will treat the business like their own and someone who communicates exceptionally well and executes quickly and doesn't make mistakes very often, then you got yourself a great virtual assistant or employee. Now let's jump in and to see who was the very first assistant or virtual assistant that I hired. What were their capacities? Now, my first assistant I hired, she is US based and she does all the customer service for my Amazon accounts. Now, I had tried to reach out to out of area different virtual assistants to try to see, how their English skills were, and I just could not find one that I felt really confident about when it comes to interacting with the customer and making sure all their problems are solved. So I didn't hire this assistant until I was roughly doing around 3 million in sales. I was doing everything on my own. But I will tell you, if you have a few products, I highly recommend getting a qualified virtual assistant earlier on in the process to just take off that burden of customer service. Once you got 1 to 5 to 10 products, Amazon, remember, for those who don't know, they want every single customer inquiry responded to within 24 hours. All right. And if you don't respond to them in 24 hours, your account gets dinged. If you want to go away for the weekend or something, if you don't want to be inundated every single day with customer inquiries, it's very important to hire out this aspect first. And that's what I recommend to you. So she has canned template responses that she gives to people. I also made sure to do a removal item for unfulfillable inventory, one of each of every single one of my products, so that she can use the product, hold it in her hand so that she can understand them, okay? Now, other things this virtual assistant does, and I've slowly added more and more and more things. The next one is she responds to every product review. All right, so especially negative product reviews, she responds to those, but she also will respond to seller feedback in addition to the product reviews. Now, when it comes to the customer service aspect, I forgot to mention that I've given her the responsibility and the privilege of issuing refunds and also being able to manually fulfill replacement products to customers. Takes it off my plate. I trust her, and I've seen how beneficial it is to make sure you get ahead of these types of things. A customer has an issue, shoot them a 15% refund, shoot them an extra product just to keep them happy. Now, another thing that she does is I have 2 Shopify stores for my different brands, and one of the Shopify sites gets quite a few sales. And so she goes in there and she manually fulfills or presses the button that gets Amazon to automatically fulfill that inventory. And that's basically all she does. So she works a part-time, I would say roughly 18 to 20 hours a week. That's what it takes to answer every single question on 90 products plus, which is what I have. And she does a dynamite job. I don't even have to talk to her very often. I talk to her probably once every 2.5 weeks on Skype, just a quick message, or if she has a question for me. And that hire alone made my life so much better. So how did I find her? Well, I found her on Upwork. I put out a simple ad saying, I prefer some Amazon experience. This is for customer service. You have to respond every 24 hours to a customer message. And I was able to find her for, very affordable pay for the United States. Now, my second hire or delegation was in regards to PPC. Now, I see a lot of people in the different Facebook groups saying like, do you know someone who can run my PPC? Or PPC is difficult. Can someone just do this for me? Before you delegate out anything in your business, I highly recommend that you learn how to do it yourself first. You become an expert, a pro. So I became an expert and a pro in PPC, in answering customer services messages. And then when I was able to hire out or delegate out for it, I could tell, hey, are they doing a good job? Hey, is the amount that they're charging, am I saving that amount in regards to my time? And could they potentially be bringing me even more money for that amount that I'm spending? So I looked around, I found an amazing agency who was very affordable and who did a great job. And then I delegated out the PPC aspect. Now, I would say that was closer to around when I was starting to do $4 million in sales. I made that delegation. Now, my next hire that I made, another virtual assistant, was another one that I found on Upwork. And I was looking for someone who did some standard data entry to keep track of different inventory numbers and also to help me run lightning deals. Now, if you're unfamiliar with lightning deals, those are deals that come around once every 10 days. You could sign up for your product, you have to offer it for a discount, and there's a special way that you can manage those lightning deals in order to get the most sales out of them. However, you have to sit by the computer for 6 hours straight, and I used to do that, but I didn't have time to do that anymore. So I looked for a virtual assistant who can do that data entry and also run every single one of my lightning deals. And now that I have 90 products, I have lightning deals going all the time and at all different hours of the day. So I hired him, very affordable fee. He's in Pakistan, so even though it's an affordable fee for me, it's actually a very good living for him. Now, I hired him on right around that $4 million mark too. Now my next hire was a huge one for me. These other ones, they were smaller virtual assistants who just took care of different random tasks that I didn't want to do anymore. Customer service, managing lightning deals, inputting information to different Excel spreadsheets. But now in order for me to go to the next level, I needed to find a mini Tim Jr. And I was really struggling to find a Tim Jr. So the way I found this assistant or employee now is I actually went onto Reddit and I went and found an Amazon forum and I wrote on there and I said, hey, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a mini me, somebody who is obsessed, someone who learns everything, someone who is sharp as a tack, someone who has a drive to run through a wall and to be able to problem solve and get over different obstacles. I'm looking for that. And you know what? Every single person on there said, you're never gonna find that person. There's no way. Well, guess what? I got a PM or a message, a private message within Reddit. And that person mentioned me, said, hey, I think I'm your guy. I help run a $5 million Amazon account already. I do so much stuff for it. And my account was hitting about $5 million at the time. So I had a phone call with him and he was perfect. So I brought him on board. Now, what are the different roles and responsibilities that he plays in my business? The key thing that he does in my business is the logistics. Now, if you have one or two products, you already know the difficulty it is in keeping products in stock, knowing when to do reorders. Now imagine 90 plus different products. It's crazy. It is totally, absolutely mind-exploding crazy, okay? And so that is his primary function. So that means he schedules all shipments with our freight forwarders. He schedules all reorders with all the different suppliers. He shoots out all the labels. He makes sure to watch all the inventory to know when reorders. And that in itself is a full-time job when it comes to a business that is selling upwards of $10 million a year and $1 million plus per month. So that is his main function. But in addition to this, he does quite a few other things too. Oftentimes, Amazon will damage out different products or they'll miscalculate the size or dimensions on different products, and they owe you some money. And you need to be pretty diligent when it comes to asking for those reimbursements. So this is another area that he specializes in, finding different changes in the dimensions of the products so that we're getting incorrect fulfillment fees or different products that have been damaged out or lost in the Amazon warehouse. He makes sure to manage and find all these different fees and submit the reports in order to get those fees back. Now, there are tools that do this, but they charge you upwards of 25% to do that. Now, my assistant, he is very familiar with this, and he can probably get, I'd say, 80 to 90% of all the different reimbursements we need back, and then the remaining ones will use a service. But that saves a tremendous amount of money, having somebody who can do it manually themselves instead of having to take 25% of that reimbursement and give it away to someone else. Now, at times, you're gonna get returns from customers, and those go into unfulfillable inventory at times. These are products that Amazon says, they're not fit to be resold. And a lot of times, they're brand new products still. So I have him also manage all unfulfillable inventory. We have it removed. We have a storage unit out where he's located, and he has it removed all there so that he can go through and find the products that are still good to go and then see which ones can be totally trashed. That's another one of his responsibilities. He also pays attention to hijackers that come up on listings, and they happen somewhat frequently. When you have 90 products, you're bound to get a hijacker here and there throughout the month or the week. And so what we do is we send a cease and desist to them. We order a test buy, and he takes care of that too. Again, these are all different things that will take it off my plate, make sure that nothing is missed, no stone unturned, and we keep optimizing the account as best as possible. And finally, his last area that he takes care of is he makes sure to be our main contact when it comes to VAT or VAT. Now, I've begun selling in different countries like UK and Germany, and VAT is totally a whole nother world. So it's nice to have somebody who can exclusively pay attention to that, and it really kind of goes in line with the whole logistics side of it. Oftentimes when you do your first shipment into the different countries, you got to pay VAT up front. And so it's nice having someone else to be able to pay attention to that to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Anyways, I hired him on right around when I was at 5 million, and that has been probably the biggest and best and most important hire that I have found in order to scale my business tremendously. it was taking me hours and hours and hours of time to be able to create shipments and get the freight forwarders and contact with my suppliers and sending them all the right labels. And when you have, 50 plus products, hours and hours of time. And guess what? Now that is all off my plate, so I don't have to think about it. Now, my final hire is another similar mini-me, okay? I wanted to find another person who could really pay attention to other aspects of my business. Recently, I started to sell in Canada, some in Mexico, and like I said, Germany, and also UK. And what I was finding is with 90 products here in the US, my mind is totally focused on all of that. It's hard to focus outside of that. And so I wasn't bringing all of my inventory to these other countries, but products here and there that I saw some potential. What I did with my next employee or assistant that I hired was I put her in charge of UK, Germany, Mexico, and Canada. Now you may say, Tim, that's 4 marketplaces and you're only looking after one. Yes, it's true, 4 marketplaces, but I'm only sending over a few products to each one. And as they slowly grow, and we see more potential in other ones, I'm gonna keep adding to that. But when it comes to, let's say you're gonna sell in Germany, things gotta get translated. Well, I don't have time to be looking for translators and sending all that information over to different people for different products. It's all different type of tasks that can be easily delegated out. And so she also takes care of that. Now, she also has a very good eye for quality and for design. So I put her in charge of updating all of my enhanced brand contents, different listings that I already have brand registry for that didn't have enhanced brand content to get those set up, to improve our storefronts. I had a couple brands that didn't have the storefronts built all out. And if you don't know what a storefront is, if you click on the brand name on a listing and if they're brand register, it can have a very beautiful storefront where it can have videos, all sorts of things like that. So she keeps an eye on that also. Now, her final area of expertise and what I have her work on is social media when it comes to 2 of my major brands. I have probably 2,000 to 3,000 followers on one brand and almost 1,000 followers on the second brand. But again, it's difficult to curate content, to engage with the followers, to continually bringing information or content to them on a weekly, sometimes multiple, twice a week basis, creating Instagram stories, Facebook posts. It's quite a bit. Thinking of all the millions of hashtags to put and directing traffic, connecting your store on Facebook to your Instagram to your Amazon account. It gets confusing even when I'm talking about it. But I never had the time to really give those different aspects what they deserve. So that's another thing that she handles. Everybody who tags us in their pictures, she's reposting those pictures, she's tagging them. And I've already seen our followers increase a tremendous amount. And soon we're gonna start to see those turn into sales. So how did I find this employee who works for me full-time, just like my other employee who works for me full-time? Now this is a little different, and this is one of the luxuries that I have that perhaps not too many other Amazon sellers have. And as many of you already know, I teach how to sell on Amazon. And I have quite a few students. I have some that are selling over $1 million a year. But within that student group, I get to see a lot of people in action. I get to see how seriously they take their business. I get to see how much of a sponge they are and how sharp they are when it comes to the information. I get to see also how they help each other. So over time, I was able to pick out a few in my mind who I thought would make an amazing employee that I would want to bring onto my team. Now, just because I have them on my team doesn't mean I don't want them to pursue their own business. I'm all for it. I'm all for their growth and their business growing too. So I reached out to this one individual and I said, hey, are you interested? And she said, absolutely, absolutely. And it was great. You know why? Because this is somebody who has Amazon experience. This is somebody who completely understands my entire philosophy on Amazon itself and has been super easy to integrate into my business. So if you have a group that you're in or a Facebook group, doesn't have to be Amazon related, take a look. See, is there anybody in here that could be an excellent added member to my team that maybe I don't have to go to Upwork? Now, that's my team. And you may wonder, okay, Tim, well, what do you actually do now? Like, do you do anything in your business? Absolutely. I still pay a lot of attention to my business and I work in it quite a bit. I've delegated out all the tasks that I know can be managed by other people that I have faith in. But I have kept some tasks or responsibilities just for myself. Now, what are those? The main one is product research, right? Product research, as everybody knows, means everything. If you don't have a good product, I don't care what tips, tricks, hacks, business fundamentals you have, it's not gonna do a thing. You could be the best PPC expert in the world, have the best photography for your listing, but if you don't have a good product, it won't do anything. So product research is my specialty. I have close to 90 products. I've only had, I think, around 2 or 3 products fail that I decided to discontinue. And so that is one area that I continue to keep for myself. So I spend quite a bit of time researching and looking for products to put in the pipeline for when we get more cash flow that we can start to go after. I'm also the one who makes that initial supplier contact. I negotiate all the prices. I'm the one who goes over every single one of the samples. I place the initial first order, and I consistently build relationships with all of my suppliers. Yes, my one team member does all the reorders, things like that, but I always play a key role when it comes to communication with them. I'm also always on the lookout for ways that we can optimize our listings or our brands as a whole. You can kind of say like I'm the visionary for the entire Amazon account, and then I find out how every single person can make those visions come to life. Another area that I take care of is cash flow, right? Cash flow, as everybody knows in this business, whether you have 1 item or 100 items, it's always an issue, right? You have enough cash flow, you don't have enough cash flow. When can we do reorders? Do we pull out a loan? Do we get a multiple loans? Do we, use this credit card? Do we use these other credit cards? Okay, it's time to go for another product. Well, I make sure that I take into account all of that, and so that I can make the overall big decisions when it comes to going after new products. And the final area that I take care of is product launches. So product launches, as many of you know, especially if you're one of my students, they can take a lot of different forms, right? There's so many different ways to launch a product, and depending on what type of product is how you're gonna launch it. So I know these markets very well. I've done all the preliminary research. I know all the competition. And I can tell which type of launch process is probably gonna be best for one product versus another, and then I put that into action. So those are kind of the main things that I take care of. Those are what every single one of my team members take care of. And combined, that is how we were able to hit 10 million, all right? It's not just myself doing everything and I'm just some wizard. No, I have an amazing team. So if you found some tips in this video to be helpful, leave a comment down below. If there's something that you hired out that you have found to be, tremendously impactful in your business, write that in too. I'm always up for improving the way I handle my business. And I know many of you probably have some amazing suggestions. Remember, if you're trying to grow your Amazon business one day to something that can really do some damage, you're gonna have to build out a team. Don't be a control freak, right? Don't delegate out tasks just to take them back because you think you can do them better. Take your time, hire the right people, and treat them great, and you will have a culture and an environment that your business will just blossom. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a comment, hit that subscribe button. If you're interested in not just being an average Amazon seller, but being a master, make sure to click the link in the description to learn more about my training. Again, it's not open enrollment. Click the link, watch the video, book a call, fill out the survey, and if you're a great fit, I'd love to work with you, okay? Not everybody is selling $10 million on Amazon per year. Not everyone can give you this type of information about building a qualified team, but those are the types of things that I could provide you if you decide to take me up on my training, okay? Anyways, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.